The Russo-Ukraine war seems to have pushed the world one step closer to nuclear annihilation. The Biden administration rallied its allies in Europe to help Ukraine so that it could present a viable counter to Russia. The heightened capabilities of the Ukrainians owing to American support escalated the conflict to newfound levels. The conflict has taken a toll on thousands of lives and destroyed billions of dollars worth of infrastructure. As a result, an irked Russia did open the possibility of intervening through nuclear means. The EU reprimanded with threats that it would annihilate the Russian army if Russia uses nuclear weapons, but the de facto leader of the EU seems to have backed out. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Atul Mishra. Let's begin. French President Emmanuel Macron, during an interview with French TV channel France 2, said on Wednesday that Paris would evidently not use nuclear weapons in response to a Russian nuclear attack on Ukraine. The Russians could have destroyed the Ukrainians if they were to bring in the advanced weaponry, but Putin has been very cautious in his strategy. He has continuously endeavored to make provisions to minimize civilian casualties and attack only military infrastructure to force the Zelensky leadership to its knees. However, Ukraine seems to have taken Russia's kindness for its softness. The regime has time and again sourced weaponry from Washington to attack Russian personnel. Recently, Ukraine attacked a significant bridge in Crimea even after repeated warnings from Russia. As a result, Russia launched a major operation all over Ukraine, but mainly in Kiev, destroying vital infrastructure such as the electricity grid that used to export electricity to Eastern European nations. Amid the deteriorating situation, an irked Putin seems to have thought about the nuclear option. Putin ramped up the possibility of a nuclear war in a major escalation last month, threatening to use all weapon resources at his disposal to win. On Monday, the G7 countries released a statement that warned that Russia would face grave consequences if it uses nuclear weapons. To make matters more clear, Joseph Borrell, the EU foreign policy chief, recently said that the Russian army will be annihilated if it deploys nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Is he expecting the minuscule forces of the likes of Germany and Poland to fight against the might of the Russians? Well, he is in a lot of trouble if he does. However, the seriousness of the statement issued by Borrell has been quashed by the statements issued by French President Macron. France is the voice of the EU. It must be noted that Paris is the only member state within the EU which is in possession of nuclear weapons. What retaliation could have Borrell promised if the de facto leader of the EU does not support the fight? The US has also remained vague on how it would respond to a Russian nuclear attack on Ukraine. However, it is quite certain that Putin would not be going on with the nuclear option because he would be deemed as an international pariah even by its allies. Maybe the West would not go with any kind of conventional war, but would make sure to use the backlash to ensure the financial ruin of Russia. However, Macron's statement has paved the way for peace in Europe and has quashed Washington's hopes for a prolonged war. Putin now knows that Europe is in no mood for war and would act accordingly to declare ceasefire any day now, as it has annexed significant regions in southern Ukraine.